Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic.
Naruto was dragging the body of one Uchiha Sasuke through the gates of Konoha. It was a vicious and furious battle, more or less a fight to the death, between these two powerhouses. The Keeper of Kyuubi used the demon's chakra to enhance himself, as did Sasuke, who went to curse level 2 form. It was a battle for the ages to witness, Sasuke using his Kawahori no Chidori, Bat Chidori, and Naruto using his Odama Rasengan, Great Ball Spiraling Sphere, against one another. Naruto won, and dragged his former comrade back despite all of his injuries. Upon arriving, he was greeted by the citizens and shinobi kunoichi of the village. Sakura immediately took Sasuke from Naruto, ignoring his presence and checking her crush for injuries. She and Ino took the Uchiha traitor from the crowd and towards the hospital. The Haruno and Yamanaka girl didn't even bother to thank Naruto, let alone look at him. Kakashi went to inspect his student, more concerned for his prized pupil, rather than his loyal student. Tenten was within the crowd and saw the look of complete emptiness and sadness in the blonde's eyes. Until recently, she did not know of Naruto nor cared about him. His pranks were the only ones that she knew of, and truth be told, was surprised on how daring and bold his tricks were. Especially his ability to evade even Junins and Hunter Nins. Of course, this all changed when she saw him fight against Kiba. She, like the others, assumed that Naruto had no chance against Kiba. He surprised them all by beating him down, and was more surprised to learn that he was still under Orochimaru's seal. He had a handicap, and he still beat the animal user. She also saw him take down Neji, even though the genius was owning his. Tenten witnessed Naruto being consumed in a hellfire chakra aura of some sort, and brought the battle to a whole new level. She was amazed that Neji was actually trying to keep up with the blonde shinobi, and with Naruto's intellect when he came under the ground and flattened the Hyuga genius with one punch. He didn't gloat over Neji, rather he went and soaked up the cheers from the crowd like a child. She fell for him right then and there. The weapons mistress knew of the battle between Gaara of the Sand and Uzumaki Naruto, witnessing it herself from a distance. The boy managed to summon Gamabunta to take on Gaara's large demonic form, transform him into Kyuubi no Kitsune, and get Gaara back in control of his demon. All of this while still tuckered out from his battle with Neji and the Sand Cloud Nins. Tenten was just simply stunned that Naruto had such stamina, strength, and compassion for his comrades in village. However, upon hearing Sakura claim that it was Sasuke who defeated Gaara, he blood boiled and wanted nothing more than to beat her into the ground for that lie. She wanted to spend some time with Naruto, but training and missions got in the way. When she finally had the time and courage to do so, Naruto was gone. She learned from her fellow ninjas that he and a number of other shinobi left to retrieve Sasuke, who went with the sound for to Orochimaru. She was disgusted by the Uchiha's actions, turning traitor for power. Sakura and Ino defended Sasuke, saying that he was not thinking right due to the curse seal placed on him. Tenten knew it was a load of bull, and again wanted to pound both of them straight into the ground. Now, we return to the present. Uzumaki Naruto was slowly going to the hospital himself when someone threw a brick at him. It hit him square in the back of the head, causing him to wince in pain and go down on his knees. The crowd started to get unruly, throwing various objects at the defenseless blonde and yelling obscenities at him. Tenten and Hinata were shocked at the outcome and went in to defend him. Hinata was using her Shugohak Rokuju Yansho, protection of the 8 trigrams 64 palms, to deflect the projectiles, while Tenten was using her katana to defend Naruto as well. The crowd was getting more riled up until Tsunade and Jiraiya came on the scene. They broke the crowd up, the Godime threatening to bringing Anbu to arrest them all. The two took Naruto to the hospital, the girls following after them. Tenten saw the way Tsunade was acting and hovering over Naruto, as if she was her son or something. Once they were at the hospital and had Naruto stabilized, the two girls reported what they saw prior to the crowd going wild. Tsunade was frustrated at the village, and it showed when she punched a stupid shinobi who came in and reported that Uchiha Sasuke was hurt due to the demon. 3 days later, there came a news that was very terrible to both Tenten, Naruto, Hinata, and his friends. The council had voted unanimously to banish Uzumaki, on the grounds that he damaged their precious Uchiha, and that he was a threat to Konoha's well-being. Tsunade was against this outrageous decision, but the council had more sway over her. This devastated Tenten and Hinata, but no more than Naruto. He was shown to the gates of Konoha, to pass through them to the outside world and never return. Tsunade bent down and hugged him tightly, crying to see him go. He handed over the necklace she gave him some time ago, saying to hand it to Konohamaru when he becomes Hokage. The rest of the rookie 9 went to see him off, but their farewells varied. Most of the males wished him good luck, even Neji, bearing him no ill will. However, Sakura and Ino were wearing smirks on their faces like the rest of the villagers. They were glad to see the blonde shinobi go, especially after what he did to their precious Sasuke. Iruka gave the boy a hug, saying that he was one of the best he had ever taught. The Junins Kurenai, Asuma, Guy, and Anko were sad to see such a promising ninja leave at such a young age. Kakashi, however, was more interested in his book than with the passing of his student. Jiraiya announced to all that he was going to train Naruto, taking him as his official student. That got a gasp out of everyone, Sakura and Ino demanding on why he was taking the dead last, and not the strongest ninja, which was in their eyes Sasuke. The Toad Hermit narrowed his eyes at them and stated that Naruto has much potential within him and was more worthwhile to train than the traitor. Before setting foot outside of Konoha's doors, Tenten burst from the crowd and went to them. "I'm going with you," she declared. This surprised a lot of people, including her parents. When they demanded that she return to them, she glared at her parents and firmly stated that she was going with Naruto no matter what. Hinata wished she could too, but her father forbid it and was too scared to go up against him. When Tenten's parents threatened to disown her, she just undid her buns and let her hair fall free. "Then I'm no longer a Tennu. One day, I'm going to be an Uzumaki," she told them. The three turned and walked away, not looking back when the doors shut. It was the end of the chapter of Konoha in the lives of Naruto and Tenten, and the beginning of a new one. End of flashback. So, that is it, my friends. During the first 3 years, Tenten and Naruto trained under Jiraiya. The Toad Hermit encouraged Naruto to tell his new friend about Kyuubi. He did, although it was with great reluctance. However, the results were not what he expected. Tenten cried and hugged him, saying that no longer will he carry the burden of being the container of the nine-tailed demon alone anymore. She would be with him, every step of the way. It was that moment that solidified their friendship, both now understanding the other to adequate degrees. Jiraiya taught Tenten his Hari Jizo, Needle Guardian technique, the brunette using her own smooth hair to create a near-perfect sphere shield. None of the spikes, but twice the hardness. Effective nonetheless. She was also taught his various sealing techniques, Kaden techniques, and signed the Toad contract. Naruto was taught Danten techniques including Doden, Yomi Numa Earth Release, Swamp of the Underworld, and Futon techniques. He also improved his version of the Rasengan, making it so it was his alone and not the version of the Yondaime. They traveled the world together, seeing old friends and making new ones. They have saved various small villages from bandits, missing nins, and tyrannical overlords. After 3 years had passed, they learned that Orochimaru and Sasuke, who escaped shortly after being healed, were headed towards Konoha. Even though they had no love for their former village anymore, the three went over and intercepted the duo. Jiraiya took on his former comrade while Naruto and his girlfriend took on the traitor. The battle was fierce and bloody, lasting for more than 2 hours. But in the end, the toad defeated the snake. Jiraiya used an extremely powerful Rasengan, driving it not in Orochimaru's stomach but rather down his throat. The snake Sanin was not prepared for such an attack, and was killed instantly when the slashing wind tore through his brain, lungs, and heart. Jiraiya sighed, knowing it was a bit much to kill his former teammate. He looked to see his two pupils standing over Sasuke, bloody and spent of chakra, but victorious nonetheless. Upon hearing how they did it, he was shocked to learn that they combined their chakras together, channeled it through the katana Tenten had, and created a blade of energy that was strong enough to cut through Sasuke's Chidori. Sasuke was shocked and was now a head shorter. His body and head was sent back to Konoha, along with Orochimaru's head. The snake's body was burned to ashes. Shortly after that, they went to face off the Akatsuki. 2 years passed, and they finally defeated the last member of the terrible organization. Itachi was defeated by Naruto in Tenten's hands, and the world was once again at peace. They found out that the Akatsuki plans were to regain the power of the tailed beasts, open a portal to hell itself, and bring chaos into the human world with them ruling over it. Thankfully, the plan never came to pass. Jiraiya was proud of his two students, seeing that they have fully matured into fine shinobi and people. He left them, going back to his old wayward ways again. A year after the parting, the two settled down in greenery country. Haruna was glad to see her friend again, and became witness to the ceremony of Naruto and Tenten's marriage. The two were now expecting a little one on the way, twins to be precise. Uzumaki Tenten was now sitting on the porch, overlooking the city. She smiled as she rubbed her protruding belly, feeling the life that was inside her. Her gaze was then situated towards her husband who was training in an open area at the foot of the hill. Oh Naruto-kun, we've come so far. We've been through so much together, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm just glad we got this far, she whispered to her husband. Here we are, safe at last. We can breathe a sigh, seems the storm has passed. Through it all, no one knew that all the tears in heaven would bring me back to you. No one I know imagined we would make it, but it only matters that we both believe. Chorus. You and me were a miracle, meant to be. And nothing can change it. Mountains move and oceans part when they are standing in our way. You and me were a miracle. Angels stand watching over us. And heaven shines upon us, every day. Every time I felt near defeat, you were there for me, oh, by my side completely. You give me strength, oh, you set me free, hey, yeah. It's because of you, oh, I'm all that I can be, oh. When I'm with you, the world is ours to reach for. Together there is nothing we can't do. Ooh, chorus. The chance was so unlikely that we would ever win. 2 stars among the heavens. Destiny brought you to me. Chorus. You and me were a miracle. You and me were a miracle. Miracle. 7 years have come to pass since Naruto and Tenten Uzumaki left the village of Konoha, settling down in greenery country and starting a family. Tenten had given birth to twins, a boy and a girl. The boy was named Hayabusa, and the girl was named Muko. Haruna and her close subjects witnessed the event, along with Tenten's husband who was just so filled with pride and happiness. The twins had no physical or mental ailment when they were brought into the world, reliving 2 very nervous parents. Now, Tenten was busy watching over the little ones while her husband was out fulfilling a B-rank mission for Haruna. Little Muko was sleeping peacefully while Hayabusa was giggling like mad as his mother changed his diaper. Tenten smiled in a motherly way and whispered, "Your father can take on an army of shinobi, but not the changing of a diaper." She ticked his stomach, Hayabusa giggling more loudly. Tenten's husband tended to put his foot in his mouth sometimes, but he was genuine in his love and affection towards her and the kids. He's still a goofball deep down, but I still love him for that, she thought before finishing her changing. A knock at her door surprised her a bit, picking up her son as she went to answer it. Opening the door, the weapons mistress found herself staring at the face of Tsunade, Sakura, Shizune, Hinata, and Ino. Her eyes widened in surprise as she saw her former leader and friends, Hayabusa, looking curiously at the newcomers. Hello, Tenten-san, may we come in? Tsunade asked politely. Gambling, sake addict she still was, but Tsunade knew when to show common courtesy when it counted. Tenten opened the door more widely and replied, yes, of course. Come in please. She stepped aside so the 5 women could enter. Hinata was the last person to enter, and after closing the door Mrs. Uzumaki took a real good look at the friends and leader she was once close with some time ago. Tsunade looked as if she did not change much, but a real keen eye would spot the slight wrinkles of frustration and weariness underneath her eyes. Shizune had grown more womanly, having a fit body that would make most men act crazy on the slightest whim. A ring on her finger indicated that she was taken, but by whom? Sakura had also grown a lot, filled out in badly needed areas, and her hair was once again glossy and long. However, Tenten noticed that the young lady did not seem too happy to see her. Ino was the same, the near platinum blonde, giving Tenten a wary and slightly angry glance. Must have something to do with seeing the Uchiha's head and body severed from one another. It was a long time ago, but it seems they can't get over it. Tenten thought. Hinata looked to be fully grown as a woman as well, her chest area having gotten bigger last time Tenten saw her. However, the mother noticed that she had a slightly forced smile on and figured that she was still sad about Naruto marrying someone else and raising a family. Please, follow me into the living room, Tenten said while shifting Hayabusa in her arms to a more comfortable position. She went into the large spacious living room, the others following her. As soon as they sat down on the couch, Shizune asked to hold the little bundle of joy. Tenten was a bit reluctant, due to seeing Sakura and Ino sitting close to the medic nin, but she carefully handed her precious treasure to the dark green-haired beauty. Shizune smiled happily at the little boy, who looked curiously at the newcomer before smiling right back at her. Shizune was A for babies, and Tsunade was one too, but only when no one else was looking. So Tenten-san, where is your husband? Hinata softly asked. She had gotten over her stuttering some time ago, but was nervous in this situation. If Naruto was here, she was sure to just have a nervous breakdown or something. No, my husband is out on a mission with some of Haruna's men. They'll be back shortly, Tenten answered. Sakura and Ino simply let out a low growl, looking away from Tenten. Oh Tenten-san, I almost forgot to tell you. Sakura has been apprenticed to Tsunade ever since you and Naruto left. Hinata and Ino are Junin now, and that's why they're here as security. Shizune explained. Tenten was impressed that Sakura was apprenticed to her idol for 7 years, and that her Hyuga friend was now a Junin. How are things between you and that blonde knucklehead? Tsunade inquired. It was not in a conceding tone, but rather in a playful manner. Tenten chuckled and answered, things are looking great. Our life here is very peaceful, but raising our little ones here is no picnic. Shizune and Tsunade chuckled at the answer, but Hinata looked away nervously while Sakura and Ino merely looked away with a humph. Little Muko woke up crying, the noise the cause of her awakening. Tenten got up and went over to get her, leaving her son alone with 5 women. When she was out of sight, Hinata got up from her seat and took a closer look at the baby. Isn't he a cutie, Hinata-chan? Shizune cooed while gently rocking the little one. Hinata put on a weak smile, seeing the small boy smiling back at her with adorable blue eyes who reminded her so much of the young man she had a crush on so long ago. He is quite cute, Shizune-san. Hinata replied. Sakura went to look at the child, who immediately started to cry and snuggle more into the medic nin for protection. What makes him so cute? He just looks like that Dobie. Sakura commented. Ino agreed with her, and that cost them a hard slap to the face by none other than Tsunade. The legendary Sanin would not tolerate any kind of insult to her beloved son, and also towards his own son. That's enough, you two. It's bad enough you both have carried a torch for that traitor Sasuke, but to insult Naruto's son when he has done nothing to you is inexcusable, she growled out. Sakura and Ino straightened up, realizing that it was a bad idea. They were strong and capable kunoichi, but would have less than a 10% chance of victory against Tsunade. The legendary one was about to reprimand them even further when Tenten entered with her daughter. Tsunade saw the little girl of the Uzumaki family and couldn't help but coo in delight, Muko giggling at the busty blonde woman. Tenten smiled, glad to see her children being welcomed like that. Tenten-san, do you and Naruto really love each other? I mean, how did you two stay together for this long? Ino inquired. To her, anyone who would be willing to stay long with Naruto was either a saint or totally out of their minds. Tenten fumed a little at Ino's inquiry, gently giving Muko to Tsunade so she could give the blonde a proper answer. I wasn't easy at first, but then again, few marriages ever are. Naruto and I have our little spats and arguments, but we always talk things out and see how we came together in the first place. Tenten answered. In her opinion, a healthy marriage was more worth it in the long run rather than a falsely happy one. You mean, Naruto stayed faithful to you all this time? Sakura asked in awe. Tenten was getting mad, but rather than show it openly, she would retaliate in another way. She smiled and answered, yes, he has. Believe me, Sakura, he's more than meets the eye. He proved that to me time and time again, and not just in fighting. When we dated, it was like he showed another side to me that he always kept hidden from anyone else. He told me that it was reserved only for me, because I was special to him. Tsunade, Shizune, and even Hinata were glad to see Naruto being faithful and loyal. A lot of men back home did not exactly fit the bill. Don't need to copy a Vogue magazine. Don't need to dress like a beauty queen. High heels or sneakers, he don't give a dang. My baby loves me just the way that I am. My baby loves me just the way that I am. He never tells me I'm not good enough. Just gives me unconditional love. He loves me tender and he loves me mad. He loves me silly and he loves me sad. Chorus. He thinks I'm pretty. He thinks I'm smart. He likes my nerve and loves my heart. He's always saying he's my biggest fan. My baby loves me just the way that I am. My baby loves me just the way that I am. Tenten saw Hayabusa squirming and whining in Shizune's arms, knowing that he was hungry and wanting some food. Sighing, she gently took him from Shizune's arms and lifted her shirt up. All the girls slightly blushed at seeing Hayabusa feed off of Tenten. So Tenten, Naruto showers you with all kinds of affection even if you're not up to it? Tsunade asked. The beautiful mother smiled and replied, yeah, he does. He loves me even if I'm sad, mad, or even just acting silly. He shows me his love nearly every day. It's kind of embarrassing, but sweet at the same time. And when there's dark clouds in my eyes, he just sits back, lets 'em roll on by. I come in like a lion and go out like a lamb. My baby loves me just the way that I am. My baby loves me just the way that I am. Chorus. Chorus. Tsunade was about to say something when she heard a familiar loud voice outside. All the girls looked out the window to see a certain blonde shinobi coming their way. He had changed immensely, from a short loudmouth genin with little fashion tastes to a tall, powerfully built man with adequate clothing on and also an aura of confidence, strength, and surprisingly wisdom. After all, fighting against powerful nins like Kabuto, Orochimaru, Sasuke, Itachi, and many more tends to speed up the thinking, reflective process. Tenten looked at the surprised look on her husband's face, chuckling and thinking on what would happen next. Yes, indeed. He may not be the best or perfect husband, but he comes close in my book. A lion in battle, but a lamb when he's with me, she thought as her hubby approached the premises. Naruto was going to be in for quite a shock when he comes in. Naruto was in a good mood as he came up the hill that led to his abode. He had just returned from a B-rank mission, which was basically to protect a high-ranking official's daughter from bandits and cutthroat thieves as she went to a nearby city for civil duties. The blonde shinobi got in a good workout from battling some rock and cloud missing nins, but fulfilled his duty to the letter. Of course, the young girl was smitten with Naruto and pleaded with him to stay with her a little while longer. The Uzumaki legend chuckled, already experiencing girls throwing themselves at him. But, he gently reminded her that he was happily married. It crushed the fair maiden, but at least gave her the comfort that she was now a friend. I still don't get why girls go after me, even if they know I'm married. Oh well, at least I know I'm married to the most beautiful and talented kunoichi ever to grace the land. Naruto thought to himself with a smile. All in all, he was relieved to be back in home in greenery country where he can be with his wife and his 2 children. He called out, Tenten-chan. I'm home. Even after all this time, he was still loud as ever. Well, vocally of course. He smiled warmly at seeing his wife, blushing when he saw her feed their son. However, his eyes bugged out comically when he saw 4 other women behind her. Sakura, Ino, Hinata, Tsunade Obaka, Shizune Nichan, he exclaimed in surprise. Hinata waved back timidly to him, blushing up a storm. Tsunade and Shizune smiled and waved at him, but Sakura and Ino merely snorted in anger and turned their heads away from him. However, he caught the slight blush that was on their cheeks. He raced up the hill and came to the front door, embracing his wife for a moment. Honey, why are they here? He whispered in her ear. Tenten merely smirked and answered that they just came out of the blue for a visit. Naruto-kun, it's good to see you again. Shizune declared happily before hugging her brother. Tsunade just smiled as she went to him and ruffled his hair. Different body, same gaki, she mused playfully. Naruto just smiled and enjoyed the affection. He had really changed in their eyes, just physically in any case. But, he was still the same on the inside, though he was more mature than ever. Hinata bowed to him politely, blushing badly. Sakura and Ino simply looked away, letting him know that they were still mad about the death of Sasuke. Well, it's good to see you all again. Even those 2 are a sight to see, sort of. Naruto said. The last comment really got the 2 Sasuke fangirls fuming. The group went further into the home, Naruto putting his weapons pouch and other sharp objects away. After all, he did not want his children to get hurt. As soon as Muko saw her father, she squealed in delight and reached out to him. Tsunade smiled at the scene as she handed the bundle of joy. How's daddy's little girl? You've been good while I was gone. Naruto asked in a playful tone. The small child smiled brightly and laughed in sheer joy. The blonde hugged her close, glad to be back home with his loved ones. It seems that you attract young girls as well as older ones, Gaki. Tsunade stated with a smirk. Naruto looked at her and replied, Yup, it's a curse. But, I'm already taken by 2 beautiful women in the world right now. He gave his daughter a kiss on the cheek, then turned and gave Tenten a kiss on the lips. Sakura and Ino were still fuming while Hinata and Shizune thought it was cute. The group went outside to the backyard, the parents sitting side by side as they held their children. The girls picked a spot anywhere on the patio deck, Sakura and Ino making sure to set some distance between themselves and the couple. Shizune asked, So you 2, how is it that you came about to marrying one another? Tenten and Naruto looked at each other for a moment, then slowly turned their gaze out to the field that was spread before them. It was not easy to manage, that much I can tell you. And it wasn't from dodging hunter nins and fighting missing nins. At first, our love was put to the test. Naruto started to say. His wife nodded and added, We went to hell and back as we stayed together, but it only made our love and commitment to one another stronger. They went back in their minds, remembering the various days of the past when they were simply boyfriend-girlfriend. From being under Jiraiya's wing, to Tenten's discovering of the Kyuubi, to their encounter with Orochimaru and Sasuke, to their encounter with the Akatsuki group, all the way to their marriage ceremony. Flashback. 2 weeks after the exodus from the Leaf, the Sannin and his 2 students were walking towards the land of grass. Jiraiya heard some reports about some high-ranking missing nins giving the small village and the royal family a hard time, and he figured that this would be a good warm-up for them. As they walked to the small land, Tenten and Naruto were walking together and talking about their training. Damn, who would have thought the old lecher was actually good at being a shinobi? The girl asked in amazement. After foiling their sensei's attempts to see girls in the bathhouses along the way, Jiraiya finally took them seriously, and Tenten was just astounding on how brutal and sadistic his teaching methods were. Hey, I was just like you. I found him at the bathhouse and I thought he was a joke. Still is, but when it comes to being a strong ninja, he knows his stuff. Naruto replied. Tenten smiled at the young man, who soon received a whack on the head courtesy of Jiraiya. Oi, brat, stop talking about me behind my back. He spat out. Tenten just giggled in amusement as her crush and her sensei got into their old arguments again. It kept up for 5 minutes, until Naruto used a small, quick Rasengan on the ground and the small explosion caused Jiraiya to trip down. Come on Tenten-chan, we need to hurry. Naruto stated, and the two walked all over the flashy-toed hermit. The blonde made sure to wipe his feet on his hair hard, and that caused Aro-Sennin to go ballistic and chase the two. Get back here and face me like shinobi, you brats. He exclaimed loudly. Tenten turned and gave him a Japanese raspberry, one eyelid pulled down and sticking out tongue. Not a chance, baka. That is until you actually call off your eki ways and be a man for a change. She retorted. Then she let out an eep, and made tracks with Naruto flying off her hand like a flag. Jiraiya used his Hari Jizo, Needle Guardian, technique and rolled up into a ball, chasing after them like a pinball. After 20 minutes of being chased, the two groups stopped for a breather. And it was almost sunset. Jiraiya unrolled from his needle ball and stated, "You two, go into the forest and grab some firewood. I'll set up camp. Go on now, get out of here," he ordered. The two panting teens huffed in annoyance at the old man, but went into the woods. Jiraiya may be a peeping Tom, but a fool he was not. He knew that Naruto needed to trust and open himself more to the girl, and to do that, he would have to tell her his secret. He only hoped it worked out for the Gaki. Sighing, he went about the task of setting up camp. In the woods, Naruto and Tenten were picking up dry bark and tree branches on the ground floor. The former members of Konoha mumbled along the lines of tough geezer and sadistic jerk when they came upon a beautiful lake. It was secluded by many groupings of trees, and various animals were at the edge drinking up the clear, cold water. Of course, the appearance of humans startled them, but they just went back to their business. It's beautiful. Tenten softly spoke in awe. With the sun setting, the sky a brilliant twilight color, and the setting as it were, it was like something out of a fairy tale for the pre-teen. As Tenten knelt down beside the water and drank up its contents, Naruto looked at the scene and just smiled. Ever since they left, he and Tenten became good friends. It was a rocky start, but it was coming along nicely. However, a thought entered his mind and his smile quickly became that of a frown. Sooner or later, I have to tell her. But, will she accept me still, or run back to Konoha? He thought. The idea of telling the girl, who had warmed up to him, his secret of Kyuubi ran through his mind many a time. But, he was unable to tell her because he was scared. Scared that he would lose a friend. He shook his head, feeling that now was the time to do it. If he postponed it any longer, it would only build up and the results of the aftermath could be very bad. He called out, "Tenten." And the girl stopped her drinking to look at him. "Yes, Naruto?" she asked. He sighed, feeling that things were going to go downhill from here. He went and sat down next to her, facing her instead of the lake. "Tenten, there is something I need to tell you. Something very important. I would have told you sooner, but I had to be sure that the time was right," he started to say. The kunoichi thought that he was going to confess his feelings to her, and that made her very tingly inside. However, she had a suspicion it was something else, given his solemn and serious face. What is it, Naruto? She asked. He took a deep breath before gazing intently into her chocolate-colored orbs. Do you remember the day when the Kyuubi attacked Konoha about 13 years ago? He asked. She nodded, saying that it was all in the history books and that the Yondaime killed the demon. The blonde shook his head and said, "That's not necessarily true. The Kyuubi was too strong and powerful to simply kill, no matter how talented the human is. The Yondaime had no choice but to seal the demon inside something. Or rather, someone." Tenten was surprised and confused by this new load of information. Naruto, how do you know all this? She asked. Naruto sighed, this time a look of sorrow and forlornness in his ocean blue eyes. I know because, I'm the container. Yondaime chose me to bear the Kyuubi, sealing it inside me when I was just born. That's the reason nearly everyone hates me in Konoha, because they see me as the demon rather than his jailer, he answered in a heavy-hearted tone. Tenten had to put her left hand over her mouth, she was just too shocked by the news. Naruto saw the shock and fear in her eyes, slowly standing back up. I'm sorry if I deceived you, Tenten. If you see me as Kyuubi, I understand, he whispered, his voice full of sorrow and sadness. He thought he lost another friend to that damn fox. He turned away and was about to leave when he felt something suddenly press up against his back, arms wrapping around his torso tightly, and something wet soaking the back of his shirt. He turned his head and saw that Tenten was crying, her hug harder than even Tsunade's. You baka, why didn't you tell me sooner? She whispered harshly. Naruto was very surprised by this change in her attitude, and when he turned around to face her, Tenten slapped his face hard. A large red handprint was on his left cheek. He was about to demand on why she did that, when she simply hugged him hard in the front and sobbed into his shirt. You idiot. I care for you, and I don't see you as the Kyuubi. All this time, those fools in Konoha hating you for something that is just sealed inside of you, such idiots. I'm surprised that you haven't gotten revenge on the village for the way they treated you, she whispered to him. Naruto did not know what to do logically, so he acted on instinct and held Tenten close. I have new respect for you, Naruto-kun. You are more resilient and a man than any of them back there, she said before snuggling back into his chest. Naruto was very happy, although tears were coming from his eyes. She accepted me. Thank you, Kami. He praised to the deities above. Nearby, watching from the trees above, Jiraiya smiled. You did right, Yaki. You did right, he whispered. He vanished before they could sense his presence. 3 years later, Tenten and Naruto were facing off against Sasuke near the border of Hai no Kuni, Land of Fire. Over the time with Jiraiya, the two had come a long ways. Tenten mastered not only throwing weapons, but handling them as well in combat. Give her a weapon such as a katana or kodachi, and she would effectively cut down anyone or anything in mere seconds. She also mastered all of the low and mid-level Kaden techniques, and some high-level ones as well. Her sealing techniques were also top-notch, and her ability to use toads was impressive. She incorporated Jiraiya's needle technique, but she formed a smooth hair barrier that was as hard as diamond. Naruto had come a ways as well. He created 2 new versions of Rasengan. The first one was splitting the ball of swirling wind and chakra into 10 small pieces. Each ball was on a fingertip and thumb tip, and he could either shoot them out like bullets or use them as a type of shredding claws in battle. The second version was using them on the soles of his feet, propelling him as if he were on skates or launching him into the air like a cannon shot. It took some control and time to master, but Naruto had improved with the 4th Hokage's technique. He also mastered many Doden and Futon techniques, same as his girlfriend Tenten. Both were fighting Sasuke, who was using his Chidori Nagashi, 1000 birds current, and channeling it into the sword Kusanagi. Tenten was using her katana against him, and Naruto was using kunais. All 3 were bloodied, battered, but not beaten. You two should just quit now. There is no way you can beat me. Sasuke sneered as he charged at Tenten. The kunoichi tried to dodge, but the jerk was simply too fast. She closed her eyes, expecting her to be slashed or hit. She felt nothing. She opened her eyes to see Naruto blocking the electrically charged sword with his kunai. It was shocking him badly, but he stood firm. Back off, Uchiha. She's my precious person, and I will not lose her. Naruto declared before shoving him back. Sasuke merely smirked as he was pushed back about 7 feet. You cannot win, Dobi. Those emotions of yours are weak, just like you. He stated smugly. Naruto growled and was about to attack, when he felt something behind him. He turned to see that Tenten was glowing pink, her eyes closed and a serious yet calm look was on her face. Tenten-chan? He asked in wonder. The girl opened her eyes, and a hard and pyressing gaze was set on a slightly surprised Sasuke. You know nothing, Uchiha. One who knows nothing, can understand nothing, she stated firmly. Naruto felt the energy coming off from her, but it was not hate or loathing. It was love. It was the love she had for him, and it was consuming her like a wildfire. He understood and stood by her side. He put a hand on hers that was holding the katana, the energy now coursing through his being and increasing in intensity. Sasuke, you made your decision. We have made ours, he told his former friend. The Uchiha simply growled and charged in, aiming to kill them with one swipe. The couple closed their eyes, channeling all of their energy into the blade. However, it was not just chakra. It was all of their emotions, hope for the future, strength to carry on, and the magnitude of their feelings for one another. The blade suddenly exploded in pink light, and the duo opened their eyes. Fire slash! Both screamed out as they swung the blade hard. Both swords connected and a large flash of light surrounded the field. Jiraiya, who had just finished taking care of his former friend, looked at the display with interest. After a few minutes, the light died down, and standing was Sasuke and his pupils. It looked like the Uchiha brat had won, a smirk on his face. However, he saw that it soon turned to shock when the Kusanagi was cleaved in two, and his head falling off also gave away who the victor was. Tenten and Naruto still held the katana with their hands, but soon limped down in exhaustion. It was over. The snake Sanin and his pupil were defeated, never again to terrorize anymore. End flashback. After reliving their memories, that caused the girls who was listening to them go into shock. So that's how they beat Sasuke-kun. They worked together. Sakura and Ino thought. For a long time, the girls had plotted revenge on Naruto and Tenten for taking their precious Sasuke from the world. However, after seeing that they had children and were trained by Jiraiya extensively, the two women knew that Naruto and Tenten would be nearly impossible to beat. Any threats to their children would be dealt with harshly, and they would also incur the wrath of Tsunade. Hinata was surprised, and also glad that Naruto had someone close in his life. She was still devastated that she was not his, but satisfied that he now had the life he so deserved. Tsunade and Shizune were slightly surprised by the tale, but were happy for their friend. The pigtailed blonde stood up and gave her adopted son a hug. It's good to see that you and your wife have come far, Gaki. I hope that you and your family have good fortune in the future, she told him. Shizune hugged him as well, saying on how happy she was that he had a good life with a nice family. Naruto was glad that some parts of his old life were happy for him. Tenten smiled, glad that her former idol approved of the marriage and love between her and her love. Shizune asked, Naruto, can we stay for dinner? Seeing as it was no problem, barely considering Sakura or Ino a threat, he said yes. As the girls went inside, Naruto and Tenten stayed for a while to look at the setting sun. Honey, thanks for being there for me, Naruto whispered to her. The glowing kunoichi smiled and kissed his cheek. Anytime, sweetie, she replied. Two young people without a thing. Say some vows and spread their wings. And settle down with just what they need. Livin' on love. She don't care about what's in style. She just likes the way he smiles. It takes more than marble and tile. Livin' on love. Livin' on love, buyin' on time. Without somebody nothing ain't worth a dime. Just like an old-fashioned storybook rhyme. Livin' on love. It sounds simple, that's what you're thinkin'. But love can walk through fire without blinkin'. It doesn't take much when you get enough. Livin' on love. Two old people without a thing. Children gone but still they sing. Side by side in that front porch swing. Livin' on love. He can't see anymore. She can barely sweep the floor. Hand in hand they'll walk through that door. Just livin' on love. Repeat. Repeat. No, it doesn't take much when you get enough. It was nighttime in greenery country, and the moon was shining down brightly on the beautiful piece of land. The lights were burning brightly in the home of Naruto and Tenten Uzumaki, who were at the moment entertaining their guests from Konoha. Dinner was on, but was a bit amusing thanks to the antics of one Muko and Hayabusa. The two young ones were mostly playing with their food instead of eating it, which amused the women greatly. So Gaki, how are things here in greenery country? Tsunade inquired just to make small talk. Naruto shrugged and said it was good and that he had a job as the main head ninja of sword at the newly built Shinobi Academy, as well as doing missions for the princess. Thanks to his influence and connections to Princess Haruna, the school was vibrant and alive with promising young shinobi and kunoichi. However, I train them to be more like warriors than shinobi. Despite that it is a ninja school, I try to teach the young ones a sense of honor and integrity that many shinobi lack. Naruto put in. Tenten also said that she worked at the school as well, teaching the girls on how to properly be a kunoichi rather than a fangirl. That got Sakura and Ino's goat somewhat, but the two remained calm. Hinata asked, Naruto-kun, how did you manage to beat the Akatsuki? From the reports we heard some time ago, they were composed of 10 S-class missing nins of the highest caliber from all parts of the elemental continents. We all know of the Kyuubi inside of you, thanks to the council repelling the third's law and all, but we believe that just using the demon's chakra was not enough to defeat them all. Sakura and Ino agreed with her, saying that Naruto's body and mind had a limit and could not handle that much power at once. Mr. Uzumaki smirked and answered, "You're right, Hinata-san. Just using Kyuubi's chakra was not enough to defeat the Akatsuki. Oh, and for the record, Kyuubi is not a demon, as one would lead to believe." This got everyone's attention good, and Shizune was about to ask why when Tenten stepped in. The beautiful and talented wife of Naruto explained that Kyuubi was actually the fusion of two powerful beings, the celestial and shadow void fox. It was like the yin and yang symbol, two different entities coming together to form a chaotic beast. At any rate, me and Tenten-chan managed to find the headquarters of the Akatsuki. Even Ero Sennin came along for the ride. Only 5 members remained in that base. They were the toughest out of the other Akatsuki members we've faced. We were about to go in and see what we could do, but, well, we got sidetracked. But it was for the best. Naruto explained. Tenten continued, we got sidetracked due to receiving help from nearly all parts of the world. Rock, Cloud, Wave, Amy, Mizu, Suna, you name it. Nearly all of the people we helped out over the past years came to our aid, without even telling us beforehand. We were surprised, let me tell you. Tsunade was listening intently at this piece of info. According to her, such a gathering of allies like that unexpectedly on a large scale was nearly unheard of before. Flashback. 2 years ago, Naruto and his girlfriend Tenten were at the border of Aim no Kuni, land of rain, and Kase no Kuni, land of sand. Along with them was Jiraiya, who was being serious for a change. The two had spotted the base of the Akatsuki, a large mountain range that divided itself evenly surprisingly, thus allowing access for the members to go in any direction they pleased. However, the mountain range was treacherous and deep. Anyone who did not know the paths to follow could either get lost or die from avalanches, traps, etc. Well, Ero Sennin, your spy network did the job. We finally located that damn Akatsuki's base. Naruto exclaimed. He really wanted to get revenge on the bastards because of what happened some time ago. He and Tenten barely rescued Gaara some time ago when his demon Shukaku was extracted from him by some of the members. The cage was alive, but just barely, and most of his abilities were gone. It was close, too close for Naruto's taste. Calm down, brat. It ain't going to be easy to infiltrate the base. Hell, it's only 3 of us against 5 S-class or higher missing nins. The odds are going to be against us, like a wave bashing against a weathered rock. Jiraiya stated seriously. Then how about we even up the odds a bit? A voice came out from behind them. The 3 former warriors of Konoha quickly turned around, and saw a sight that was just too wild for them to believe. Standing in front of them was Gaara, Temari, and Kankuro. However, that was not all. Beside them were Inari, Sasama, Chio, Tazuna, Tsunami, Matsuri, Yukie Fujikas, and more. Nearly every single person that Naruto and Tenten helped out since their exile from Konoha was here. Gaara, Inari, what are you all doing here? Naruto exclaimed. Despite that the fact this was a stealth mission, he was surprised to see his friends. Tenten was also surprised to see them as well, Jiraiya also bug-eyed in shock. Gaara smiled, which was rare on occasions, and answered, me and my siblings have come to help you and your woman aid in the destruction of the Akatsuki. However, some caught wind of our mission and decided to come on their own accord. Hence the extra people here. He then gestured to Inari and the rest of them. Inari smirked at Naruto's surprised look and stated, hey, what do you expect, bro? You've done a lot for us, so it's high time we return the favor. Besides, you ain't going to get this party started without me. The young teen was carrying all sorts of weapons, as was everyone else, but it varied. Jiraiya snapped out of it and exclaimed, you should go back. This is too much for you to handle. This is serious stuff. That, he was silenced by stern glares from the group, especially from the ladies. Naruto was going to agree with his sensei, as was Tenten, but he saw a fire in them all. It was a burning passion and determination, something that he saw in himself long ago. The princess of the snow walked up to Naruto and stared into his eyes, hers gleaming with a fiery spirit. Naruto Uzumaki, Tenten, you have helped us in the past, as well as rekindling in us a flame in our souls that we thought to be extinguished long ago. We needed your help to erase evils in our world, and now you need ours to help erase this evil, she said firmly. Tenten put in, but, princess. We really do appreciate the help, but these 5 ninjas are serious business. It'll probably take an army of well-trained. She was silenced when all of them smirked widely, just like foxes. It was quite eerie, especially for Naruto and his group, considering that he was thought to be the only one to pull off such a move. Gaara and Yukie indicated with their thumbs to look behind them, over the small hill. Naruto, Tenten, and Jiraiya went over to see what they were indicating at, and their eyes nearly popped out of their skulls. In a wide plain stood about 5,000 people. The majority were ninjas from the sand, but many from their respective lands have come. Shinobi, soldiers, warriors, and even ragtag civilians in armor were on the scene. Once they saw Naruto and his 2 companions, they let out a shout that rang throughout the land. Temari smirked at the gobsmacked look on the 3 and said, many are not skilled or seasoned fighters, and some are medics, but they all know the risk they are taking. I know no one from the Leaf is here, but have faith in us. We know what we're fighting for, and it's high time we acted. Naruto looked at the friends he and Tenten made over the years, and then back at the group of people waiting for him to say something. Looking at Tenten, he saw the look and small nod she gave him. The beautiful young adult smiled a little, and that was all the answer Naruto needed. Taking a deep breath, he looked at the small army and shouted out, okay folks, this is it. You all know what is at stake, and also the dangers that await you should you choose to go with us. But, seeing you all here knowing that and still coming into this fight, you have more guts and bravery than I have seen most in my life. Tenten stood by him proudly and added, so let's go and show the rest of the Akatsuki what we're made of. This is our world, and we're not going to let them turn it into a wasteland. Let's fight to protect the ones we care about. Our families, our homes, our loved ones, and our future. She then looked pointedly at Naruto, and the message was clear. She wanted to have a world where it would be much secure than the one they were living in now, a world to raise a family. Jiraiya sighed, but made a little defeated motion with his hands in the air. Hey, well, this is surprising. Alright, let's get this party started then. It's going to be dangerous as hell, but who wants to live forever anyway? He said. Naruto smirked widely at him, then turned to see his friends standing behind the toad sage. With a thumbs up, they started to work out a plan on what to do. End flashback. And that's what happened. The rest is history. Naruto finished up. Tsunade and the rest were amazed. They have heard about an immense attack on the border, but most of the council and the ninjas disregarded the scene as something non-leaf related, thus to ignore it. The Godime really thought otherwise, and felt that somehow the action involved her little adoptive brother and Tenten. We heard from some of the visitors to Konoha that place you were talking about was a literal war zone. Many claimed that hundreds of bodies littered the ground and that most of the mountain range was nearly reduced to rubble. Hinata said. The young Hyuga girl realized that to do such a feat, a power on a scale unimaginable was required. Ino and Sakura also remembered hearing rumors such as that, but just chalked it up to exaggerated tales. It was a war zone. We lost many good people, but thankfully all of our friends survived the encounter. The Akatsuki is totally gone, and whatever plans they had in store for the world went down along with them. Tenten put in. It was a very tough fight, and it would have been impossible to win had not the others come in to aid them. I got myself a notion. One I know that you'll understand. To set the world in motion. By reaching out for each other's hands. Maybe we'll discover what we should have known all along. One way or another, together's where we both belong. Dinner started to wind down, and Naruto started to put up the dishes and also clean up a bit. Using his Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, shadow clone technique, to speed things up, he was done with the kitchen in about 15 minutes. Dispelling the clones mentally, the Uzumaki lad led the ladies outside to the patio. Once they were situated there, and the babies securely tucked in their parents' laps, the group looked on out to the night sky. Naruto has changed, in many ways. Even though I'm still a bit bitter towards him ending Sasuke-kun's life, I'm sorta glad that he's changed for the better. Sakura and Ino thought. Scrapping together what little information they had on the blonde warrior, they automatically assumed that he was foolhardy enough to try and take on the Akatsuki by themselves. Now they see that he and Tenten were not fools, and also big enough to admit when they needed backup. If we listen to each other's heart, we'll find we're never too far apart. And maybe love is the reason why. For the first time ever we're seeing it eye to eye. Naruto-kun, he's more of a man than any I dreamed of. Hinata thought. Even though she was married to one Kiba in Izuka, she had always dreamed from time to time on how Naruto was doing. In her fantasies, he was a fully grown man that was handsome and dashing. Now, it seemed her fantasy became a reality only with more substance. The powerful sun-kissed hair warrior had matured and grown with age and experience, more so than he had when he was with the leaf. Looking up at the stars, Hinata ever wondered if she ever regretted her decision to leave the leaf and join with Naruto and Jiraiya like Tenten did. I love Kiba and our daughter, and I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. But, if I had the chance to make the same decision over again back then, would I change it? She thought. Apparently, the Hyuga heiress was not so sure about the answer she held in her heart. If all walls should come between us, too high to climb, too hard to break through, I know that love will lead us, and find a way to bring me to you. So don't be in a hurry. Think before you count us out. You don't have to worry, I won't ever let you drown. Seeing a shooting star pass by, Tsunade and Shizune were looking up and wishing that they could have played some part in Naruto's life during his exile. They had tried to in the past, but the council had always blocked or intercepted any kind of aid the two would try to sneak out of the village for Naruto. My little brother is all grown up now, in more ways than one. Shizune said softly. After hearing his tale, she believed that his exile was actually for the better, but that did not lessen the pain of her not being able to help him or Tenten out. Tsunade thought, those council fools, they let a perfectly good man out of their grasp, and all for the sake of one spoiled brat. But now when she looked at the scene of the present, she came to the conclusion that Naruto was just too good for the leaf. He and Tenten were smart, powerful, adaptive, but more importantly had honor and integrity. Something that most shinobi nowadays did not adapt to, and that was a crying shame. Repeat. Tenten was holding Hayabusa securely, looking at the stars but in between also gazing at her husband. I'm very happy that we've come this far, baby. I just hope that it continues until the end of our days, she thought. Her mind then drifted to her friends scattered all over the world. She hoped and prayed that their fortunes were right and fulfilling. Of all the things that held them all together during the fight was the love they had for each other and also for the ones they were fighting for. There are many types and kinds of love, friends. Brotherly, sisterly, family, romantic, platonic, the list goes on. But in the end, love is what brings out the best and worst in people. In the battle, it brought out the best and thus was a good factor in the victory for Naruto and his friends. If you're lonely, stop.